seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, guys? Clutch here. Essam here, back in another video. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Houston Texans. I'm going to be talking about one player in specific that I think can have a more increased role in this new offense. The offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, is installing to the Texans team. And this player is tight end Brevin Jordan. And Brevin Jordan's still only 22, so he's still pretty young. I mean, he was drafted 2 years ago. He's still 22, 2 years in, or this is going to be his third year in the NFL. So he's still a very, very young football player. He's been given not the best of opportunities here in Houston so far. Some of it's been because of him. He has had difficulties blocking. He's had some drops. He's had some false starts, some holdings, pretty much all of the above that I just listed. So he hasn't done the best for himself, but then at the same time, he hasn't been given the best opportunities, whether it's because players like Jordan Akins are playing over him, especially last year. Guys like Pharaoh Brown were playing over him at times, and just things like that. So he hasn't been given the most fair opportunities, but then again, as I mentioned, he hasn't helped himself as much, but he has shown some pretty good glimpses of being, I guess, at best, a pretty good receiving tight end. I don't think he's ever going to become a good blocking tight end, a good inline tight end. They can feel comfortable out there matched up against the edge, matched up against a pass rushing linebacker, any of that. I don't think you can be comfortable having him out there like that. But if you want him to be a receiving threat, a guy in the red zone, a mismatch, I feel like Brevin Jordan's exactly your guy. You want to put him out there in the slot. You want to put him in the normal tight end position, but like just have him run straight off a route. Don't really have him do anything that involves too much blocking, because as I mentioned, he's not the best blocker, and I don't think he's really gonna become a good blocker at any point in his career. It's just not something that he's too good at. I mean, he has the willingness to block, but he's just not good at it. And I mean, that's okay. As a tight end, you really want your tight end to be a good blocker. But if you can make up with it in the receiving game, then I feel like you're okay with it. And I feel like Brevin Jordan has the opportunity and has the chances to do that this year in this new scheme. And Bobby Slowick's scheme, going back into San Francisco, I mean, they really value tight ends. Of course, when you look at George Kittle, he's, for me, a top 2 tight end in this league, up there with Travis Kelce. But yeah, George Kittle, the way they used him, obviously, he's a great all-around tight end. As I mentioned, he's a top 2 tight end in this league. He's a good blocker. He's a willing blocker. And the receiving threat, I don't even think I have to touch on it. We all know what type of receiving threat he is. And I think, I'm not going to say Brevin Jordan can mimic what he does, but he can mimic kind of like how he's used in the receiving game. They try to get George Kittle in space. They try to get him opportunities to make plays after the catch. They try to get him pretty much wide open, whether it's up the seam, on a quick little out, quick little screen, a lot of tight end screens. They try to just give him quick route opportunities to get open, get the ball, and make plays after the catch. And I think that's what Brevin Jordan can really excel in. That's what he did in Miami. In the University of Miami, he was doing that all the time, whether it was catching a screen. We saw him hurdle a guy with Miami. We saw him break tackles at Miami. He was a monster in Miami, and he was scouted to Miami, I think, as like a number 1 tight end in his class. I think this was 2018. I want to say it's either 2018 or 2019. Whatever year that Kyle Pitts wasn't the number 1 tight end. But whatever year that was, I think it was Brevin Jordan that was the number 1 touted tight end in the league. So I mean, that says a lot about him. That says a lot about his talent, his potential, and he just hasn't been able to really hit anywhere around that potential so far here in Houston. But with Bobby Slowick, I think that can change, and it's been reported by a couple of guys. I think Brooks Cabina touched on it, and I think DJ Bieniemy from ESPN touched on it quite a little bit, that Brevin Jordan's been having a pretty good offseason so far, in OTAs and mini camp so far. He's been making some plays. I'm not sure if he's been running a lot with CJ Stroud. There hasn't been really much talk, but there's been some clips of Brevin Jordan making some plays. There's been some talk about Brevin Jordan making some plays. It was mentioned in an article somewhere. If I find it, I'm gonna link it in the description below. But Brevin Jordan's been having a pretty good offseason. It looks like he's determined to come in here And he has a chance to be that number 2 tight end behind Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, let's remember, he's on a 1-year deal. There's no guarantee he's going to be here next season. I think Nick Caserio would like to extend him if he does have a pretty productive year with CJ Stroud. But by no means is it really guaranteed that he's going to be here next year or following the season. So I think Brevin Jordan, he's going to be given a good opportunity, some pretty good reps, a good majority of the other plays. He's going to get some good play time here in this offense, especially in an offense that's probably going to have a lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of heavy personnel, a lot of play action. So we're going to have multiple tight ends at times. So having Brevin Jordan and a Dalton Schultz in at the same time, we can see different combinations of that. And, of course, we do have Tegan Couturiano, who's also a pretty, I guess, interesting player. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in this offense. Last year, he did make a couple of plays. He did make a name for himself amongst the fans. But at best, I think he's probably going to be that tight end 3, tight end 2 rotational guy. Like the guy that you're not scared to put out there if necessary, but by no means necessary is he going to be that elite or great or even good tight end. I feel like he's going to be a guy that you're comfortable putting out there, that you're comfortable putting there in certain situations if your tight end is hurt or needs a rest or something. If your starter, that is, needs a rest or something. But I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that you're going to be comfortable putting out there starting. And I think Brevin Jordan, I think he can be that. I think he can be a guy that you're comfortable putting out there starting. Just pray that you don't need him to be blocking a Myles Garrett or a Nick Bosa or a Chandler Jones or anything like that. Let's hope that he's more of a passing threat from the tight end position. And hopefully Bobby Slowick, I mean, obviously he's smart enough to realize that, but hopefully he's able to get the best out of Brevin Jordan in those scenarios, whether it's a quick little dump off, a play action boot, just get him a quick little out route, something like that. Just get the ball in his hands, and I think he can be very productive. But this season, I think it's going to be a make or break season for Brevin. I mean, he's going into his 3rd year. Not his contract year. He still has another year after this until he'd be a free agent. But this is the year where we really need to start seeing something from him. Yes, he was a 5th-round draft choice, so you really can't expect too much from him. But if he does want a future on this team, he's going to have to start producing, and I think he has a really good chance to do that this year. But yeah, what do you guys think about Brevin Jordan? Let me know down below in the comments. Do y'all think he has a future on this team? Do y'all think he should be given a chance to be that number 2 tight end? But yeah, it's been Clutch Entertainment, and hope you guys have a good day. Peace.